Hi, my name's Ty Richer, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit about both myself and the history of my family that kind of came over to start their lives in the United States. So my family comes from a few different areas. Um, Most notably is my mother's side coming a lot from Eastern Europe. So you see a lot of, especially in the names, like Gerlicki and Mudra. It's a lot of Polish, and then even some Bohemian and Czech in there. But for my dad's side, it's a mix. So my father's father, my grandfather, he came from, his family's from Italy. And it's actually from central Italy, kind of almost near the south a bit. And my grandmother on my father's side, her family is from Ireland, and actually from Cork County, the specific area in Ireland. So my grandfather, my Italian grandfather, his family came to Ellis Island in about 1903 is when I found the ship record. Um, my Irish grandmother, her family came about, or one side of her family came at about, it was about the same time, I believe, maybe a bit later, like 1910. And then my Polish uh, side of my family, they came slightly earlier at about 1890, but that was like with about like three or four waves of different like branches of the family. So I found one for my on my Italian grandfather's side. His my it's my great great grandfather. His name was Giovan Nicola Iarici, and I actually found out that when he came to Ellis Island, he was actually detained for an extra 2 days compared to other passengers because they found he was a POC, which stands for a person of charge. And that specifically means that they thought he was an immigrant that was coming over to take advantage of like social care and welfare that the U.S. was providing at the time, and that he would have. And then if he did not have someone that would vouch for him in the U.S. or he did not have a letter of someone in the U.S., they would just send him back to Italy. My Irish grandmother's side, one like very far branch of the family, going back all the way to 1820, I found out that my four times great grandfather, he was actually a saloon keeper up in Connecticut. So that was very interesting to hear about. But other than that, all of my immigrant ancestors, like the Italians, the Irish, and the Polish, for the most part, they were unskilled laborers working in factories. One thing that I was kind of shocked to find, at least when I was doing this research, was I found a World War I draft card for my great great grandfather about being part of the draft and joining the army for World War I. And um, so my family, we always were like, oh, we're Polish, we're Czech, we're just a blob of Eastern European nationalities. But actually, what happened was on the draft card, it said he was from a region in Austria. So I did all this research, and my mind was kind of like in a state of like I didn't realize we were Austrian. So I talked to my grandmother, and we kind of thought about it in terms of like that section of land was probably like where he was from, traditionally like southern like Poland, but just the way that the borders changed in Europe at that time, he probably had to like legally register in Austria. I feel that a lot of people in this country think that we should reduce immigration because their family has been here for so long. Their family immigrated in the mid 1800s, so that they have this kind of stake in the country that they need to protect. But if you go far back enough, even my oldest relatives from the early 1800s, they were immigrants too.